Hey, I'm Carrie. Welcome back to my channel. It is Halloween today, so I'm in my go-to costume for the past 4 years. Giraffe. Easy, comfy, why not? So today, regardless of this situation, oh, and I got a new backdrop, new setup style. Here we go. Very excited. If you hate it, comment. If you love it, comment. Let me know what you think. I'm kind of excited about how sleek it looks, so I'm pretty excited. Anyway, back to the task at hand. In today's video, I'm talking about pricing, which is one of the most common questions that I get from people who are interested in potentially starting freelancing, or anyone who just is looking in from the outside. One of the first questions I get is how do you know how much to charge? Because there is not just a standard resale rate. It's not like having a traditional sales business where you sell things, where you purchase it from your supplier at a very clear cost, you sell it at this very clear cost, and you get this very clear profit margin. It's different than that. So setting your pricing takes a little bit of thought, and I'm gonna go through kind of my suggestions of how you think about it, how I have thought about it in the past, with some examples of how it works in my business. If you're new, I'm carrieblogger. I sell on Fiverr.com, and I'm a Fiverr Pro seller. I've been selling on the site since September of 2013, so we're going on 7 years, and I do this full-time as my full-time business. This is my actual job. It's not a side hustle. It's not a, you get the point. It's my job. So I have a lot of experience in building up that business, and I'm going to help you hopefully figure out how to do that for yourself. And at the very least, just hopefully it's a little interesting if you think that freelancing is as cool of a concept as I do. All right, let's get into it. So basically, in my opinion, deciding your freelance prices all comes down to fair value. I was reading a book. It was about I forgot what the book was called. Let me look it up. Okay, so it's from, this is not important. It's from In an Absent Dream from the Wayward Children series by Shauna McGuire. And this book was obviously fairy tale, so it has nothing to do with real life. But the character in the book was in a goblin market where everything was determined by fair value. And that was how all of their entire bartering system worked. That really resonated with me, especially in my line of work, because it's all a little ambiguous. It really depends on literal fair value, both for you and for your customer, so that it actually is a very mutual positive exchange. Neither person should feel like they're getting, shortchanged, undercut, anything like that. So determining your fair value is really important. And there's a couple of things you have to think about. Personally, on your side of things, that needs to be things like time for your value for your time. It needs to be something that is a sustainable, meaningful part of your financial support, if that's what you want it to be. Of course, if you're just doing this as a passion project, if it's you just love doing what you do so much that you're willing to bare bones price it just because you love doing it and you want to have that opportunity, then that is fair value for you. If you want to make it a sustainable part of your financial support system, then you're going to need to make your prices at a certain level where you get fair value in order to help sustain yourself. It also covers things like your passion. Like I said, if you love doing it, then that is value for you. If you really hate doing it and it's not fun, you might need to charge more to make it worth your time, how much energy you want to put into it. And I'll be honest, that is a dangerous road to go down. If you really hate what you're doing and you charge out of spite to make it fair value for you, people are going to notice. People are going to see that as you're charging a lot because you're just doing an okay, bare bones job. But again, that is part of that fair value. So you need to judge what it's going to take for you to be happy, financially sound, invested in the project, passionate about seeing it all the way through. And all of those things kind of come together into the price you set for yourself. On the customer side of things, quality is the number one fair value that we have to consider, because they need to look at the delivery that you give them at the end of this project and feel like it really was worth the money for them. But that's not the only thing to consider. There's also things like convenience. If you are able to do something for them that they either don't know how to do or would be a lot more work for them to do, that's a convenience factor for them. So there are some services on this platform, like, for example, transcription, audio transcription. There are a lot of online websites where you can do that yourself. It's not that hard. It's not something most people can't do, but it is something that most people don't want to do. A lot of those, like, how to make money fast on Fiverr they will suggest things like that. That's not actually a skill that you need to do it. But again, it's fair value because the person who's buying it doesn't want to do it. That is not the kind of business that's going to be able to build up and grow over time, and in my opinion, be like a sustainable, thriving option, because again, it's not skilled. It's purely convenience. But, you know, convenience stores are a thing. They're a moneymaker. People pay for convenience. So that's just one part of our fair value pie. Another is communication. That is a value point in addition to and kind of standing alone from the actual quality that they receive. If the customer has just very open communication with them or with you, they feel like they really understand you, you feel like you understand them, you don't have to go back and forth, they feel like very in control with your communication, that is a huge value point. And if that's something that you excel in, which I personally feel like I'm very good at online communication and staying very, very transparent with my customers, that is something that you can charge for because it is value that they are receiving. Flexibility of revisions is also something that people can charge for. And again, this is not explicitly, like you aren't listing your prices and saying like, okay, if you want me to message you back, that'll be another $5. If you want me to be nice to you, that's another $10. If you want convenience, $15. But all of those things break into how you set your prices. So flexibility of revisions, if you offer revisions, absolutely, that is something that you can charge for. And if you just offer that as a general level of service, just in general flexibility, of course, that's something you can like set up a price for, and not even have to be like an add-on extra, but it's just part of what you are and why you charge what you charge. Trust value is a huge one, and that is like that they know before they actually embark on the service with you that they are paying for this price because they trust you. The trust factor is permeating the whole way through your experience with your customer. It's not just at the end of the process. They think, yes, I did trust this person and they did give me what I said, so yes, I suppose that was fair. But they're saying before, when they see that kind of high price tag, they say, I trust that this will be worth it. And that is backed up by things like your reviews, your professional appearance on the site or wherever you're selling, things like a portfolio that they can actually see your previous work and see what they will expect in the future. Publications, like I've been interviewed by Forbes and Entrepreneur Magazine about my success and track record as a freelancer. So when people see all of those things together, that creates a feeling of trust and professional, like, understanding. They understand and trust what they're going to get, and that makes them feel very secure in paying a higher price tag because they know what they're going to get at the end. If you set your price way too high and you don't have enough trust value, you don't have enough communication value up front, those are going to make it just a little discordant with what you're asking for versus what customers really are willing to pay and what they're going to expect. So that's all a lot of like ambiguous stuff. That's very imaginary pie chart concept. In terms of the tangibles of setting a price, that's where it gets very specific and hard to just say in a general idea because it depends what you're selling. Different industries have very different price points. Your expertise lends a very different price point. Where you're selling, who you're selling to, where you are in the world, what your delivery period is, all of these things add up to a price. So my best advice is to do your research and see what other people are selling in your industry. This is true with anything. Like if you sell hamburgers, I'm the worst with analogies. So definitely look at the other people around you to kind of determine a price point. Try to break down the details of what they're delivering, not only like the specifics of, you know, in my case as a writer, like how many words are included, does that cover revisions, does that cover research, what kind of publication is this for? Yes, of course, those specific tangibles lay into how you determine a price point, but like I said, it also has to do with that fair value pie chart. You need to create something with a price that matches according to those other people. So yes, if there is someone who is charging bare bones price, just like bottom of the barrel, cheap as can be, ludicrously cheap, you have to consider, are they also selling with trust value? How is their communication? What is their revisions? How is their kindness and respect for buyers? Those other fair value elements play in. So don't just look at the specifics of like, you know, building blocks of what's included in a package or what they're actually physically selling, but the whole buying and selling experience is part of your price. So don't get locked into the specifics like that. It's October. It's almost November. My nose is a little funny. The other thing that you should consider is who is your target buyer. There are tiers. This is a whole scale of the people that you can work with. And I have noticed in my experience, I started at, I think, 600 words for $5. And now I am at selling like $1,000 packages, very like holistic, inclusive, comprehensive, big projects with my customers. And to get from there to there, not only have I noticed a shift in like what I deliver, my personal level expertise, my personal level of professionalism, my personal level of communication, my personal level of like organization, all of those things have grown as I have changed my prices, but also the kind of customers that I've worked with has changed a lot. And honestly, it has changed for the better. Don't want to offend anybody here. Honestly, the people that I was working with at the lower end of the pricing spectrum were most often the people who were trying to like cheat me in a weird way. Like they saw that I was not charging tons. I was very, very affordable. Their vision of what I was delivering was like, this is a steal. And so the customer vision or view of that was that they kind of have the right to try to steal from me. So I definitely have noticed that at the lower end of the pricing spectrum, me personally, I got way more experiences with buyers who would like ask for things in kind of an unreasonable way. Like I would deliver something that we had very clearly agreed upon. They'd say, well, actually I want this too. And I'd say, okay, well, you have to pay for that because that's not what was agreed upon. That's not what was included. And then all of a sudden it was like trying to take advantage of me or being like actually like a bully to try to get new things that they had not paid for. And it was just not a level of respect. There was also problems with people who did not know what they wanted, did not take the time to consider and like set very clear brief and guidelines because it was like, oh, it's only $5. I can just throw that over there. And then they didn't take the time to actually care at all to give me direction. And I felt very under-supported in terms of not knowing what they wanted and how to serve them. The more expensive, in general, this is all in general based on my personal experience, the more that a customer cares, the more they're willing to spend, the better the experience has been to work and collaborate together. Again, it's just like tends to be a higher level of respect, a higher level of communication, a higher level of clarity between the two of us. And again, it's just fair value for both parties. So in all of that, you just have to consider who you want to be working with, what you want the experience to be like in an online freelance scenario, and just, set prices that you feel like are going to support both parties equally. So hopefully that's helpful for you. Again, pricing is really ambiguous. It just has so many factors that it depends on, and it really just comes down to fair value. That is how I determine it. That's how I consider it and think about it. And I encourage you to think about it, not just in a very linear, tangible, specific way, but again, those deeper value points. And it's a transaction, but it's a partnership, and both partners need to be satisfied in order for pricing to be accurate and correct. So there you have it. This is carrieblogger today as a giraffe, if I can put my hood on. The giraffe for Halloween. This will be up tomorrow, so the day after Halloween, and maybe you'll see it then, maybe you'll see it in a month, maybe you'll never see it, I don't know. But thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please comment them down below. This video is specifically in response to this comment right here. Thank you so much for commenting it. I'm happy to help. And so I'd love to curate Freelance Friday content that fits your needs and fits like what you are interested in. I post every Tuesday and Wednesday with the honest review video. I'm trying to post most Thursdays for something about freelancing in my life, how I spend my flexible freelance time. And then every Friday, of course, is Freelance Friday, and every video, or most, will be posted at 10 a.m. PST. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and click to subscribe. I have lots of content coming your way, and I would love to have you stick around for it. Thanks again. Bye.